You're listening to Big World Network.
Amazing Grace, Episode 12. Written by James Hellvig, read by Meagan Hedin. Tammy grips the side of the bed, struggling to control her breathing. The dull ache in her head and chest thrum in unison with the beating of her heart. The nurses and doctors poke and prod, asking questions that she answers as best she can. She tries to keep an eye on both the armed man in the corner and on the growing crowd outside. Distracted, she misses the last question asked by the physician. Blinking, she says, "Sorry, Doc, what?" Smiling, the gray-headed man asks, "Do you remember how you got here?" Shaking her head in response, Tammy frowns, replying, "Not really, just bits and pieces. How long have I been out of it?" Watching her closely, the doctor says quietly, "Nearly 5 weeks." Seeing her eyebrows raise in surprise, he continues, "What's the last thing you remember clearly?" Shifting in her bed slightly, Tammy says blandly, "I'm guessing this is a secure facility you've got here, Doc, but I don't know you, and you're not exactly in uniform. All I can say at the moment is that's classified." Nodding and notating on his touchscreen, the doctor tilts his head and replies, "Fair enough. Can you tell me what year this is, Tammy?" Scowling at the man, she sighs and closes her eyes a moment. Opening them, she tells him in clipped tones, "I hate games, Doc, but I'll bite. It's 2003. Dale and Kat stand at the end of the room as the doctor explains Tammy's condition to Anna, Brenda, and the attending staff. The good news is that her mental acuity appears to be intact. Her motor functions and neural reactions are well within the norm. However, her short-term memory has been affected. Dale clears his throat, saying, "Damn near a decade ain't exactly what I'd call short, Doc." Rubbing his eyes, the lead physician explains, "In relative terms, it is. In cases like this, her memory could come back in stages, all at once, or not at all. We'll try to stimulate her short-term memory by introducing people and information a little at a time. But I caution all of you, this will be a slow and frustrating process for everyone involved, and you must prepare yourselves for the possibility that it may prove futile." Anna's eyes water and Kat hugs her, whispering, "Don't worry, kid. You and me are definitely memorable. You'll see." Sniffing, Anna nods in agreement. "I sure hope so. Maybe Dale will let me call Mother Steele and Father Bernard. I'll take all the help I can get." She vividly remembers her and Dale's first assignment on the team. So why in the hell are there so many damn gaps? Who are these other people, and why do they keep insisting I know them? Do I? Should I? Shit! Punching the incline keys on the treadmill, she lowers the belt and slows it to a walk. The last 2 weeks have been maddening, and seeing the heartache on that young girl's face only increases her frustration. Dale explained their relationship in general terms, but there is obviously a lot he isn't saying. He also flatly refused to give any details on what had happened to Tammy. A voice behind her, filled with mirth, says, "Easy there, Tammy. You break it, you buy it." Ignoring the taunt for the moment, Tammy finishes her therapy and steps off the machine, turning to face Dale. The man looks tired, and there are numerous lines on his face that don't match her memory of him. Yet another indicator that she still has a long way to go. "You here to tease me some more, Master Sergeant, or are you finally going to actually tell me how the hell I got here?" Smiling in a whimsical manner, Dale answers with a shrug. "We'll see. I do have a few more photos to show you. Let's take it one step at a time, okay?" Pointing his thumb over his shoulder, Dale continues, "You know the way, but it wouldn't kill you to shower first." Chuckling aloud as a thrown towel sails past his head, Dale walks into the hallway, muttering, "At least some things haven't changed." Father Bernard replaces the receiver after taking it back from Mother Steele. Raising an eyebrow at the thoughtful expression on his friend's face, he slumps back in his chair, waiting until she was ready to share with him. Nodding to herself, Mother Steele turns her attention back to her friend. "Anna is worried, and we need to continue to be prayerful in that regard. Kat has been leaning on Dale to allow another outside contact. Me." Pursing his lips and clasping his hands, Father Bernard asks, "I assume it's been approved?" Nodding, Mother Steele answers, "You know as well as I how this works. I won't be allowed to leave once I arrive. She was quite clear on that. I have a significant amount of vacation time. Would you be opposed to me using it? Leaning forward on his desk and bugging out his eyes, Father Bernard says, gruffly, "Of course I mind. Who's going to do all the menial tasks around here?" Rolling her eyes and smiling at her friend, she replies affectionately, "Thank you, George." Huffing aloud, the priest responds, "Like I had a shot at keeping you here." Tammy sits at the conference table where she's been many times, reviewing records and looking at images that she has no connection with. It's like watching a movie with the sound off. Dale and the doctor, who goes by the pseudonym Fred, sit at their customary places, watching her reactions. Pushing away the files in annoyance, Tammy sighs loudly. "I just want to get operational again, damn it. So I lost a few years. Let's get on with it, Fred." Gratingly calm, the physician answers, "We will, Tammy. But this is important. You have to try to be patient." Running her hands through her hair, Tammy takes a deep breath and massages her neck. Looking forward once more, she says resignedly, "Okay, bring on the pictures." Images are brought up on the big screen in front of her and left for a few moments before scrolling onward. People and places that she should remember but doesn't. After dozens have scrolled by, the image of a woman with dark hair and brown eyes stares at her from the screen. The picture appears to have been taken outside on the steps of some building or another. There was something... Placing her elbows on the table, Tammy leans forward, studying the image. Dale halts the scroll function on his laptop. There's something wrong with this picture, but what? Frowning, Tammy leans back in her chair, still mulling over that nagging feeling. She startles Dale when she suddenly gasps, bolting upright and pointing at the screen. "The eyes! The damn eyes should be violet!" Turning to look at the two men still seated at the table, she continues, "Who is that bitch?" Standing and moving closer to his obviously confused friend, Dale answers quietly, "Well, for starters, that's the bitch who put you here. Come on, let's take a break and you can tell me what else you remember." Demonis Alumno listens to the reports from the three sources standing before her. The men are all former intelligence agents and have compiled a lengthy and highly detailed dossier on the current location of Tammy Fuller. The data has been costly in the extreme and, for the most part, useless. Jorge stands at the farthest corner of the room, expecting the worst from his employer. The senior analyst finishes quietly. "We lost 5 assets attempting to confirm our data. While they cannot compromise us, the safe house is assuredly on full alert." Glass eye glittering, the odd mixture of red, gold, and violet seems to be boiling in the reflected sunlight. Looking at each man in turn, she says with a grimace, "So if we can't penetrate their defenses, we either draw them out or wait. Since it appears all of the people closest to her are also there, I'm supposed to wait? No." Smiling at the nervous men, she motions at Jorge with a wave of her hand, saying brightly, "Jorge, show our guests out. They have a new assignment and must complete it in a timely manner." Voice devoid of emotion, she stands, adding coldly, "You're going to have to find me a nuclear warhead. I don't care if we buy it, borrow, or steal it. We will have one. You do understand, don't you?" Visibly paling, the men nod in agreement before hastily leaving the room. Jorge swallows hard, closing the door behind them. Turning back to the now seated arms dealer, his knees weaken at the crazed expression he sees etched on her face as she mutters over and over, "Nobody escapes me. Not ever, ever, ever." Anna jerks awake with a startled cry, her heart pounding as she looks around the room wildly. In her dream, Tammy had turned her back on her and walked away without a word. "It's just a dream. Mom wouldn't do that. She's letting you sleep in the same room after all." Fear grips Anna as she realizes that Tammy isn't in her bed. Throwing back the covers just to be sure, Anna then crosses the small room, calling out softly as she approaches the bathroom. "Tammy? Mom, are you in there?" Silence greets her hail and she turns on the light, looking about the room. The small clock's numbers read 3 a.m. Hurrying out the door and down the hall, Anna knocks on Dale's door. She hears Kat's door open across from her at nearly the same instant as Dale's head appears. Anxiously, she whispers, "I can't find Mom anywhere. She's gone."
This has been a presentation of Big World Network. Visit us on BigWorldNetwork.com for more free weekly series, or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Big World Network.